Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to HR Repair. Today we're going to call it HR Diesel for a very specific reason, because that's what my business name actually is. And this truck has a 6.2 liter diesel. I bought this thing at an auction, sight unseen. Has not been running for I don't know how long. We've got a little bit of an idea because I did go around and look at things a little bit. I have not looked at it in depth yet, so just walked around the truck a little bit. But I bought this thing sight unseen. It was online by my friend Schmidt Auction. He says does not run, lost title applied for. That could be interesting, but we're going to see if we can get this thing running. We'll see how bad it is or how good it is, and see if I got shafted or did I get a good deal. So let's get into it, and I'll bring you guys along. We'll check this thing out. Contact. All right, like I said, this truck was on the auction block, and we've got a DMI quick cushion bumper. And if you're from the 90s, you will know that at one time this was a very popular bumper back in the day. Actually 80s and 90s, but in my teenage years this was a very popular bumper. A lot of farmers did have this bumper. Now this truck is missing a badge here on the back. This, I believe, would say 6.2 liter diesel. It's missing that. I noticed a few things. We got a little bit of rust poking through there, a little right there. The doors are actually probably the worst part on this thing. They still close good, but the outside skin is not in good shape. You can see there's a big hole right there, and there's a fair amount missing underneath there. Right, Hoss? Need some pets. The floorboard on this thing, though, is very good. Very solid. Same way with the driver's side. Now, I did not pull anything up to look at that. I thought I'd bring you guys along for that. So we might find more underneath there. Don't know. We've also got a seat that's got a little bit of wear in it, but also not too bad. The dash has a little crack right there. Some cracks up in here, but otherwise doesn't look too bad aside from being very dusty and dirty. This thing does have factory AC. Still got the factory radio in it. I do have a set of keys for it. Wait, did I call this thing a Chevy? It's a GMC. It's a Greater made Chevy, according to my cousin, who is a GMC dealer. So we have a older Pepsi can here. Thought maybe I could get a little bit of an idea of how old this thing is, but I can't find a date on there. Anybody know how to read that date? Is that a date? I don't know. So yeah, I think the bones of this truck, from what little bit I looked at it, are in pretty good shape. It is four-wheel drive. It's got 2 low tires on it. I don't know if the auction company aired this thing up or aired the tires up or not. As you can see, it was also sitting in mud. The driver's door over here is also got a little bit of the deletion kit on it. We got a little bit of trim that needs a little help there. Fixed. I've got the inner card here is actually not in bad shape. But the seat, look at this seat. This seat is not in that bad a shape. It actually doesn't sit too bad. Now, one thing I did notice underneath the hood, because I did pop the hood and I just looked at it real quick. Again, did not pull the air filter, didn't do any of that. I just opened the hood and looked at it because it was dark. It was late at night when Dad brought this thing back. That's another reason why I didn't record going and picking it up, because Dad picked it up for me. I did not have time to go get it. There was like an 8-hour period where we could pick this thing up, and I did not have time to go during that 8-hour period. So thanks, Dad, for picking that up. But okay, what are the miles? Looks like 64,633 miles on the odometer, which I am guessing, well, it's missing the brake pad, but there's not a lot of wear on the gas pedal, or I mean diesel fuel pedal. So this may be a 64,000 mile truck. I don't know. Why such low mileage? Probably because this truck didn't run but 6 months out of the year, because it is a 6.2 liter diesel. Yeah, right there. Look at that. These trucks, these diesels, were not noted to be the powerhouse, or they're really not even that incredibly reliable, to be honest. But why did I buy it? Well, because it's cheap and I'm cheap. As we can see, we've got mouse turds all over the place up here. We're going to have to vacuum a lot of this stuff up. We've got some on top of there. Looks like something's been eating away at this up here. But you know, here's the other thing. The hood is not bent right here. So I kind of think this thing might be a 64,000 mile truck. As we can see here, we've got the factory AC. The compressor is not locked up. It actually feels like it might still pump something. We do have a little bit of a power steering leak. We've got the hydraulic booster for the power steering. Why do we have that capped off? What is that? Good question. It goes in through the firewall. I guess we'll have to take a look at that. It might be a sensor of some kind. I don't know. Yeah, back to why did I buy this thing? Well, I was looking through some of Trent's auction, he's the auctioneer, through some of his sale bills, and I seen this thing and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna bid $1,000 on it. Probably won't get it for that price, but I'm gonna bid $1,000 on it. And I got it. So, Schmidt Auction does not add a buyer's fee to their auction, so I bought it for $1,000. Now, hang tight, phone's ringing. Well, where was I at when my brother interrupted me on the phone? Where was I? Still don't know. I believe, I believe that this truck has been off of the road since 2016, because the last time it had the license plate renewed was 2016. So I'm assuming that it hasn't been on the road since then, and it might have even been before then that it was off the road, but probably somewhere around 9 to 10 years that it's been off the road. When was the last time it ran? Don't know. So we're going to see if we can get this truck running, or why was it parked? That we don't know either. Yeah, this should be interesting. We'll see what I got myself into. Why do I impulse buy? Okay. First of all, if you know anything about diesels, you know that diesel fuel does not go bad as quickly as what gas does. However, the new diesel fuel will go bad. I'm trying to think. I think back in 2015 was when we had the ultra low sulfur diesel fuel already, so we're probably going to run into a little bit of issues there. Hopefully it was not biodiesel. Bio adds a whole other realm of difficulty, because bio in the system, when it sets, will turn to varnish, and it will absolutely destroy a diesel fuel system. So I'm hoping that with any kind of luck, it did not have biofuel. So let's do a little flood check and see what we've got for floods. First of all, let's hope and pray it's got some antifreeze in it, because if not, it could be frozen, and then we have a other problem. I see green antifreeze down in there. The inside of the radiator doesn't look too bad, actually. Looks like it's got a new alternator on it. New reman. What brand? I'm not sure. I just stuck my hand in the mouse poo. Really am going to need to get that cleaned off. Okay, next thing I want to do a little check of the oil level. Let's see what kind of oil we got in here. I mean, it's a little over full. It doesn't look that bad. Still feels real lubricative. So I don't know why it's over full in oil, but we're not missing a lot of antifreeze, so I don't think there's antifreeze in the oil. Diesel in the oil? Possible. Well, I think the next thing we probably want to do is, why not, check the power steering fluid. It's at full cold, so that's good. Let's check our brake. I mean, half, honestly not bad. Where are we at on transmission fluid? Smells like transmission fluid, and it's got lots of it in there, so man, this is awesome. It's got a fan clutch on it, so I can't turn over the motor with the fan. Why don't we go ahead and get this mouse poop kind of vacuumed up here, and we'll pull the air filter housing off and see if we've got any kind of air filter in there, or if the mice have all chewed it up and send it into the engine. If not, after that we're going to hook a battery pack up to it and see if it'll power up or catch fire. Loud noises. All right, I'm gonna have to invest in a non-moving step. All right, let's see what we got underneath the air filter there. One thing I did notice on this thing is it still has the factory jack over there. Jack and tire tools, so that's good, and that's tight. It's also very rusty. Thanks, mice. You stupid things. When we get this thing running, or if we get it running, hey, don't use starting fluid. I bet you that's what that notice is. But when we get this thing running, or if we get it running, we'll take this thing out. We'll do a little bit better cleaning. We'll have to blow all of this mice crap out of the engine bay here, because they've been here and they have made a mess of everything, and I hope that they haven't got into my wiring here. This is back when they made good wiring, not made out of food products, soybean products, so they're not as quick to chew on wiring. Hang tight, guys. I'm gonna get this off of here, and then we'll pull this filter cover off together. Man, the mouse smell is strong on this. You know, I'm good with the mouse smell as long as they're not still alive. If I have one jump out at me, well, let's just say I don't like to be surprised by mice. One little bit. All right, both of those are off. Let's go ahead and see if we can get this thing off of here and reveal the damages. Well, okay, nothing got into there. This is good. Yeah, air filter doesn't look too bad. I don't know. It almost appears like the guy took care of this truck, and it may be a low mileage truck. I don't know. I think this thing has cruise as well, doesn't it? That just dawned on me. I bet you this thing's got cruise control. Wow, we got the option, the outfitted truck here, man. Let's clean a little more out here. Why have I been looking for a diesel? Well, because diesels are easy to fix. Diesels are easy to fix. Easy to run. They only require fuel and air. Obviously at the right time, but it's not like a gas engine needs spark, fuel, and air. So, I like my diesels. They're easy. They're easier for me to diagnose than gas engines are. So that's why I went with it. Let's go ahead and pull this off of here. I'm gonna go ahead and just undo it right here. I think that's the vacuum for the EGR valve. Yes, these did have EGR back in the day. Unfortunately, everything looks decent down in here. We've got a little more mouse poop over here around the back here, so I'm going to try to suction some of that up. All right, we've got that pretty well cleaned up, and one thing I've been noticing is we don't have any chewed up wiring that I can see yet. So I think what I would like to do is take a big sip of my coffee and hook up some battery power to this thing. Just see what happens. I think I'm just going to hook up the battery pack first, jumper pack, and we will see if the thing lights itself on fire before we invest in some new batteries on this thing. I'm guessing in order to crank this thing over, we're going to have new batteries because these diesels do turn harder than gas motors do. To see if it'll at least power up, I'm going to put a jump pack on it and see what we got. I did notice that the one battery is a 2009 battery, so that kind of checks out. It'd be about 6 years before it was off of the road. So my guess is it's probably been off the road for 9-10 years. Oh, okay. This cable over here is real loose. They stacked a bunch of nuts on top of each other. So I'm gonna have to see if I can tighten this down. This is not gonna be long term for me because I don't approve of this style of side post, but we'll at least get it going here. Okay, they're both tight now. Man, the mouse poop is, the smell is just, You know, when you think about it, you're smelling particles. Your nose takes samples of particles. And so you're actually inhaling the mouse particles. I don't want to think about that. Okay. Whoa! Windshield wipers are going. The fuel pump's go. I got the key turned on. Well, we know the windshield wipers work. I don't know how to turn the windshield wipers off. Oh, here we go. There. I think it even has the windshield. Hang on. Oh, it had the delay. I hear it beeping in here. The four-wheel drive is supposedly engaged, which I assumed probably because, yeah, it's now in two-wheel drive. The brake light is on. It's because somebody had pushed in the parking brake. The four-wheel drive light actually still works. The fan's blowing. Okay, I'm gonna have to get you guys in here. Okay, something's still clicking up there. And I've got the key off. No, I've got the key on. I'm so freaking confused, I don't know. Okay. Key is off. But anyway, we've got... The fan works. There's not a lot of noise coming from the fan area. Off. Oh my goodness. Radio work. I don't know. Got a little something there. Yeah, that'll be enough of that. Okay. Our gauge works. Does our clock work? I don't think so. How much? Does our fuel tank? I don't know. Now that fuel pump is really annoying. We may have to do something about that because that's really loud. Water and fuel. That light goes off. Now I have a button here, which I'm assuming is probably the glow plugs, because if I remember correctly, the glow plug timer on these things does not work the best. So a lot of guys would bypass the glow plugs, so I'm assuming that's what that is. Well, let's just see what happens. Contact. It's not locked up. Yeah. Woo! Okay. Well, let me think here. If we got to this point, I was going to put new batteries on it, but yeah, we're going to put new batteries on it. They've added a fuel filter here, I believe. I don't think that's factory. I don't know if we've got fuel up to that or not. Do I want to check, or do I just want to assume that there is fuel there? We should check it. Okay. I don't think there's fuel up there. I mean, we have fuel up to there, and I just heard the fuel pump quiet down, so we do have fuel coming up to there. It actually doesn't smell half bad. Yeah, we've got a solid steady stream of fuel there. Wow. Okay then. The fuel pump quieted down. We've got fuel pumping up to the filter. I'm cautiously optimistic. Let's get a NOCO boost. Put another jump pack over here on this one. And let's see if I can get a good enough connection on those terminals there to, I don't know, maybe fire this thing up. Oh, wouldn't that be awesome? Well, it's got voltage there. All right, let's see what happens. Do we have another contact? All right, let's run the glow plugs a little bit. Let's see if that, yep, that push button does turn the glow plugs on. Sounds like I've got air in the fuel again. Is it smoking at all? I don't see any smoke. It's cranking a little slow. Well, since we can control the glow plugs. Oh, whoo, that's hot. Hot, 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 hot. I really should. Let's just put new batteries in it. This thing, I know it's going to crank over. Whether it'll start or not, I don't know, but the truck's worth new batteries, so I'm going to put new batteries in it. Stand by. Man, I don't know. This thing is either very well taken care of or has low miles. Look at that battery hold down. Or battery tray. We still even have the factory hold down. Everything came out. I've got the other battery in and it was the same way. So there's hope for this thing. Well, new batteries are in. Let's see what we got now. See if it'll crank any faster. The one battery's got a little age to it, but it should still work good enough. All right, we got power. Glow plugs. Yep, we got glow plugs. I don't think we're smoking in the right places. Let me think here. I'm going to put a little bit more juice to this thing. We may have to give her some of the go juice. Now, usually you wouldn't want to do that on a glow plugged engine, but if you're careful and you know, tread lightly and don't activate the glow plugs, then you can you can make it work. So we're gonna try this. You don't want to use a lot of ether on these because they will lock up pretty quick. And like I said, the glow plugs can cause them to explode. Alright, well, let's see if our fuel is getting up to the fuel pump at all. We know it's getting up to our fuel filter. And the other thing we need to check is, do we have power getting to our glow plugs when I'm actually trying to get power to it? Because if not, I mean, I'd like to get this thing started in the, you know, normal way that they're supposed to start. So let's see, we'll crack the fuel line up here after this fuel filter here. We know that we're getting it up to the fuel filter, so let's crack it after the fuel filter. And we do have fuel pressure there, so we should have fuel coming up to here. The other thing is, do we have power getting to our shutoff solenoid? These things have a habit of, if they're set for very long, the rack gets stuck inside the fuel pump as well, so that might be a problem. I'm going to get a battery charger on this thing as well, get all the juice to it. I'm thinking. Okay. Oh, what can happen with these fuel pumps is the rack inside gets stuck because of the time it's been sitting. So I'm hoping that's not the case, but that is a good possibility, which is not terrible to pull that cover off of there and just see if that's the case. But I want to just double check and make sure. Let's check and make sure we've got power coming to our glow plugs. I'm going to check for power up to our fuel pump, power to our glow plugs, make sure that that's all good. Then we got fuel up to the fuel pump. We need to make sure that we're getting fuel out of the fuel pump. Like I said, that rack may be stuck. So basically what happens inside that fuel pump is you have an electric solenoid that pulls back, but the spring-loaded rack should follow that. So what happens is sometimes the solenoid will pull back, but the rack stays stuck in that position. So we may have to open up that fuel pump to see, but I want to make sure we got all of our powers and grounds where we need it for our fuel delivery and our glow plugs, and then I'll be back when we get that all done. Okay, we have verified we have power to the fuel pump relay. We also have power down to our glow plugs. So we are applying power to the glow plugs. We have fuel up to the fuel pump. Now all we need is fuel delivery, which I'm not sure if we've got or not. So more than likely we don't, but because it should be running unless we have bad glow plugs, which is a very real possibility. But I don't even notice that it's smoking at all, so I don't know. I don't think we've got any fuel delivery. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna crack a few of the lines coming out of the fuel pump to see if we have any fuel delivery out of the fuel pump there by the lines. You can do this with these older motors because the fuel pressure is not that high. Now, modern day engine, no bueno. We'll crack that line loose. Now, if we have fuel delivery out of the fuel pump, we should see some of these getting loose. Getting wet. I'll show you guys here pretty soon what I was talking about. We're just going to crank it over for a little bit. And we'll see if we've got any fuel squirting out. All right, do we have any fuel delivery? No, we do not. So we know we should have fuel up to this fuel pump because we have fuel coming out of that fuel filter back there. So we should have, essentially we should have fuel up to the fuel pump. What we don't have is fuel delivery. So my guess is this fuel pump is varnished up on the inside a little bit and that fuel stop is stuck. So let's see if we can fix that. I don't really want to take that cover off, but I will if I have to. Let's just make sure. Yeah, because I have verified that we have power to this connector here, which means that we have power to the solenoid, whether it moves or not. That's another question. I guess I should. I can't hear inside whether it's activating or not, so I might get my power probe out and see if I can make that thing click. Well, I have applied power to the fuel pump directly with the power probe, and we have no click inside the fuel pump. So I am going to go ahead and pull this thing off. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and ground it out. There's a power and a ground. There's two posts up here, and one is power, one is ground. The other one is grounded through the fuel pump housing. So if we don't have an adequate ground up to here on the block, we could essentially have a solenoid that's not grounded out, because we got to have the engine grounded out for this to work, because there's a little ground strap running from this other post to the fuel pump. Nothing. Yeah, there's nothing. Okay, I'm gonna pull that fuel pump cover off, and it's just 3 screws that hold it on. However, we've got a solenoid on top here that I'm gonna have to probably take off first. So hang tight, get that off of there, and we'll see what we got. All right, I found the problem. So it was exactly as I had suspected, except a little different. I believe, see here, I thought that this thing could move independently, and it actually can. So we might still have a problem with this thing. But what I found is what will usually happen is this rack gets stuck here. This is your kill switch, or your shutdown right here. So that's usually what happen is this thing gets stuck, and it did. Like, I had to use a lot of force to move this thing. And usually it gets stuck in the off position because of, you know, you shut it off, leave it set, and it sticks. The good thing is this, other than being varnished up, this fuel looks really good down in here. So what our solenoid does here is it will push that thing over like that, to right there where my finger's at. It'll push that up and kill the motor. So that's why it was not pumping fuel. Now I'm guessing it would pump fuel now. However, fuel will also come shooting out of here if we turn it on. So the other thing I want to do is just make sure that everything inside here works the way it should, and the rack is moving. Everything seems to be working there. Okay. So I think we should be good there. Now, what I want to do too is, while we've got this thing off, let's see if the stop solenoid is working at all. And we can test that by putting power and ground to this thing. And you remember I said that it's got a ground strap. So it's got, this is the one we were checking power to. This is your ground. Strap runs over here. So if we take our power probe, now watch that solenoid there. It should move. If I can get this situated here. I'll put ground on the ground side. Can you guys see? Okay, it's moving. All right. This thing should, in theory, pump fuel. Now, whether that fuel is in good enough shape to run, that I don't know, but we'll find out. And this freaking phone is about to drive me nuts this afternoon. All right, we've got the fuel pump where the stop part of it is working. Now I need to see if we're pumping fuel. I also want to do a little bit of a test just to make sure that it will shut off if I turn the key off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that we're pumping fuel. I've still got those lines loose. We're going to crank the motor without running the glow plugs. Crank the motor over, see if we're pumping fuel. It won't start because these things do not start without glow plugs. And then I will come over here, pull this wire off, and we'll crank it over and see if it stops pumping fuel. Because if this thing does not stop pumping fuel, we're not going to try to start it. I do need a runaway 6.2. So let's apply all the juices. Again, just cranking to see if we pump fuel. Yep. I think so anyway. Crank it just a little bit more. All right, I'm not so sure that this fuel pump is still pumping fuel. Little concerned that we've got some stuck rollers. Try see what that's got. Oh, no, we've got fuel coming out of there. All right. Oh, wait, I was going to check and make sure that it quits coming out of there too. Never mind. If it starts, it starts. I can always kill it by plugging off the intake. Maybe. I should have. So what I have done to these already is I have taken and put some fuel additive directly into the fuel pump to try to help free that up. And I should have done that when I had the cap off, but I didn't. You know, because I'm in a hurry. All right, let's see if we have any change in patient condition. Let's make sure our jump pack is back on again. We're gonna wear this jump pack out today. All right, let's see what happens here. Is it gonna start or is it not? Glow plugs. Kick those on for about 15 to 20 seconds. And crank. Whoa! You gotta be kidding me! Why did it suddenly quit trying to start? We have a fuel pump that's not pumping fuel adequately. So let's... I think she's gonna come around. It's coming around. How about that? Oh my goodness, look at that. We had mice in the exhaust. We'd better not have mice in the shop now. But oh my goodness. I think she's gonna be a runner. Yeah. I most definitely should have put some additive in the fuel. Why don't I don't even know which tank it's pulling off of. Probably off of the front one, or right hand. It's set to the right hand tank. I'm gonna dump a little bit in there. We've got some carbon treat here. This is got some cleaning action to remove carbon deposits and buildup. Advanced moisture control, use in all diesel fuels. 2 ounces to 15 gallons. So looks like we should put about half of the bottle in. Perfect. Okay. Did about 2 seconds of the glug 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 in that side, or more. I don't know. We put in some. I'm going to put some in on this side. I don't even know if this tank works, but this diesel treat is cheap, so let's just use it. How much do we put in? All of it. All right, let's try this again. Glow plugging. Yeah! Woo! It's not running on all 8, but I bet it will here after a bit. Once we get some of that carbon treat in there. Look at all the smoke. You know, I probably ought to check, make sure it's got oil pressure. Oh yeah, we got 60 pounds of oil pressure. We're gonna have to open some doors and some windows. I'm gonna unhook everything, we'll move this thing out, let it smoke itself out outside. She's a smoker, she's a runner, she's a track star, something like that, I don't know. Yeah, she's running on all 8. All right, let me get the forklift out of here and we'll pull this thing out. I don't want to shut it off because I'm afraid that starting it up might be a little bit of a chore again. I kind of want it to run out just a little bit. Hey, we have brakes. It goes into gear. It has brakes. Oh my. Let's just put this hood down. It even goes down good. Wow. All right, our shop started to clear out, all except for everything on the ground here. One thing that I did notice, it still doesn't like to, I mean, it idles okay here, just sitting here idling, but if I come up and, you know, if I'm driving it and I stop, the engine stops immediately, it stalls. So it tells me that the fuel system is not the happiest right now. So that's okay, we can fix that. The engine is healthy, that's the good thing. The brakes work good, they feel very good actually. Let's take a look and see if we have lights. We have a dome light. We have a marker light here. Headlights. Whoa. Tail light over here. Tail light. Oh my goodness. This makes me so happy. Happy, happy, happy. What about turn signal? I have a turn signal back here. Dude. Turn signal there. Yep. What about a right-hand turn signal? And the right-hand turn signal says, you're out. We do have a bulb out here. Ah, it's blinking. So we have a bulb out here and probably one in the back. That's no big deal. We can change those out pretty quickly. All right. What do you say we get some air in these tires, get the air filter back on and see if it'll take off down the road? Huh. What are the chances that the AC still works in this thing? It doesn't kick in. That's okay. It's probably out of Freon. This is still the R12. I didn't exactly expect for it to still be there. But let's turn it over to hot. Blowing warm air. The temperature's a little above 100. Thermostat hasn't opened yet. Thing still smells like mice. Okay. The alternator works, I'm pretty sure, because I think we have 13 volts according to the gauge there. We still have 40 pounds of oil pressure. I really should get this thing up in the air and do an oil change on it, fluid and filter change, but I really want to take this thing out on a test drive. Obviously I can't go far because it's not road legal or anything, but this is awesome. Very minimal effort to get this thing running, and that's why I like diesels. I'm gonna let this thing run for a little while, try to get some of that fuel through there. I don't know which tank it's pulling out of, but I think, I mean, it's set on right front, but who knows if that's working or not. So I'm gonna have to figure out which tank, or if it's, maybe it is able to pull off of both, but we're gonna try to figure that out. The other thing I want to do is I want to get some fresh diesel fuel in this thing and get some of that running through there before we park the thing until we get some more stuff done to it. Yeah, man, this is awesome. Oh, woo. I'm so excited. All right, we got, as Vice Grip Garage would say, wind in all the tires. Let's see if this thing will restart, and let's just take it down the road a little bit. I don't want to go far. Gosh, look at those tires. I was probably braver than I should have been putting 40 pounds of pressure in those things, but you know, live on the edge, right? All right, Hoss, you ready to go? No farm truck is complete without the dog. All right, you're good. Hop over there. Windshield's dirty, wipers don't work, that's okay. All right, will it start? Fires right up. Fasten seatbelt light is on. Goes off like it should. Look at that, we still got, it's warmed up. So we still got about 35 to 40 pounds of oil pressure there. Temperatures come up, it's blowing heat out of the dash. So, yeah. Yeah, it dies, but it'll fire right back up. So I'm hoping with some run time and you know, a little bit of better fuel, we should be able to get this thing cleared up, hopefully. All right, oh, lights. Interior lights are not the best, just like they all were. No horn. Oh no, no honks for safety. Power steering works amazing. Okay, I think we can pull this dash apart pretty easily and see if we have, or replace some of those light bulbs, because I cannot see how fast I'm going whatsoever. We're just gonna take a short little drive and see if, you know what, I'd probably better take my phone with me. I don't have my phone on me. Look at our battery voltage, it's climbing. Yeah, the rack and the fuel pump is a little sticky still. I had pushed on the gas pedal and it kind of hesitated, so it needs a little work, needs a little run time. Let me go get my phone. Oh wait, what about brights? Does this one still have the foot? It does. Oh, even the brights work. Look at that. I think I'm gonna like this truck. The mouse smell, man, just don't like it. Shouldn't have inhaled that deeply. It's starting to idle a little better, so let's just second gear. The wheels are completely out of round. Third gear. Yup. I don't dare go down this. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. My engine died. Okay, we're gonna have to learn how to feather the throttle until we get this thing to work properly. The transmission does shift in the second and third very well. This thing does have an overdrive, so I just don't want to drive it down the highway though. I just don't know that I feel confident enough that I won't break down. I guess live life on the edge, right? I feel like it'll probably work okay, but man, I don't want a tire to blow out. And this country road is, I call this Washport Avenue for a reason. Yeah, it does shift. I'm feathering the throttle. I don't want it to die. The brakes feel really good, actually. So, tell you what. I'm gonna head right over here on the highway, and worst case scenario, I'll have to have my buddy Chris come by and pick me up if something happens. Okay, he's turning left into here. Second gear. Third gear. You know, I just don't know about this. Why don't we go to the gas station? We'll get a little bit of diesel fuel to put in this thing. We're up to 50 miles an hour. Oh, overdrive. It shifted into overdrive. Oh, wow. I gotta feather the throttle because I just don't know that I don't want to lose engine right here. So we will turn into the gas station here, put a little diesel in this thing, and head back to the shop. I know it says it's pulling off of the right tank, so we're going to go ahead and put some fuel into the right tank. It's probably a dumb thing to do, but that's what I'm going to do. All right. So I didn't know which tank it was actually pulling out of because, you know, I don't think anything makes a difference here. I switched it to the left tank, and our fuel gauge never changed earlier. So I just went ahead and put fuel in both. I put about 8.5 gallons in the left one, so about $100 worth of fuel. And then on the right front one, I put I think I only got like $10 in that one, so that one's pretty full. So either it's full of fuel or it was almost empty. And it fires right up, man. Am I ever impressed? I'm just astonished and blown away by the fact that the blower motor is not making a severe growling, whining noise. And dude, I did not see him coming. Oh well, we got plenty of room. All right, let's get this thing back to the shop. I don't want to be too far away from the shop. I can tell the fuel pump just needs to have a little bit of run time. Hopefully, get some fresh fuel through there, and hopefully this thing will be good to go. Of course, we got to have all kinds of traffic. Man, it actually gets up out of its way. Shifts smooth. The tires are starting to level out a little bit. I can't believe how good this thing actually drives. Can't believe that the fuel pump or the brakes still work. I mean, if you know anything, like, okay, so Junkyard Digs, I watch them a lot. They're always doing brakes. So I expected I was going to have to do brakes. But There's no grinding noises. They're solid. I mean, they do shake a little bit, but I'm not sure if that's from the tires or the brakes. So, man, this is awesome. Let me know, guys. You think I overspent on $1,000 for this truck? It's already starting to, I mean, it's way more responsive than it was. It's not dying as soon as I let off on the accelerator. All right, we'll pull this thing into the shop and just kind of go over some things again, clean up the shop. We're gonna call it a night for tonight. It's supposed to get bitterly cold this weekend, so lots of snow. The other thing I didn't try was the four-wheel drive, but I don't really want to try that out before I do a lot of checking on the underside of this thing. So I'll pull this thing in here and just kind of look over it. Shoo! All right, see how good it starts. Just listen to this. Man, like I said, I have been looking for one of these for a long time. Call me weird, but I learned on diesels, the old Standardine pumps. That's what I learned on. Of course, they were John Deere, but they're all kind of the same thing. And like it's just fun. And Dad used to drive an old 6.2 around back in the day, so this just brings back memories. Look at that. I bet this doesn't work in it. Whoa, wait, what? 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 Yeah, it doesn't do. But look at that. I mean, and the floorboard is solid. Okay, guys, I'm geeking out just a little bit here. All right, let's go. Let's take a look around, see what we can see. All right, we'll open the topper. Let's see what we got in the topper here. We said open the topper. There we go. We've got paint stick. We've got some, looks like it had a fifth wheel in it. Got some steel there. What do we got here? Welding rods. Yep. Electrodes. Couple of bolts here. Still smells like mice. I mean, this topper's actually not in that bad a shape, although I'm not a huge fan of the topper. Whoa, the gas shocks still work, but I sent the picture to one of my friends and he kind of likes the topper, so we'll see if he wants it. I don't know. I don't really want to keep the topper on it. What do you guys think? But look at the bed. I mean, the inside of this bed is amazing. There's a little bit of rot right here, but for the most part, right there, but for the most part, this is a very solid bed. We've got a nice old axle shaft chisel there. What do we have in here? We have some pesticides there. My guess is this, yeah, that's oil. What kind of oil? I don't know. What's in here? Fuel additive? Yeah, seems like oil. Got some welding gloves. Grease gun. Cord. with an outlet on the end. Some adhesive. Screwdriver. That's an old Craftsman screwdriver. Look at that. Ooh, we got some starting fluid. Why do we have starting fluid? We got a little empty can of PB, some spray paint. Okay. Does this thing still latch? Nope. Oh, I should turn the lights off so my batteries don't go dead. Hoss, you want out? Still smells like mice. All right. Like I said, everything is pretty solid except for the doors. Seems like the doors always catch the shaft. The front fenders are still really good shape. What amazes me is the floorboard. What do we got behind the seat here? Yeah, nothing. What about in here? Alright, we got a little chisel here. Blowgun. Some fuses. Anybody remember those round fuses? Back in the day, my grandpa, or both of my grandparents had, back in the day, my grandpa had tons of these things. 15/16 China. Got a box cutter. Somebody's sock. I don't want to think about what that thing wiped last. Okay. I mean, we got some good blocking there. I mean, wood. Got a light there. Nothing real substantial. What do we got in the anything in the glove box? Nothing. It's as empty can be. Empty would look at that and say that's empty. What do we got here? This for this? Nope. I don't know. It's got the AC. Hey, buddy. You want to get home, don't you? You don't know about this truck. This truck don't seem familiar to you, does it? Yeah, good boy. Needs a new bulb up there. Well, what do you guys think? Should I get new doors for it and restore it, or should we leave it the way it is? I don't know. But she runs, and runs pretty good actually. It just gets better with time. The last inspection was 1990. Well, here in Illinois, you don't have to have an inspection. Haven't had to have for 30, 40 years already. So, yeah. Well, it's starting. Oh, you got the old tilt right here. Yep. That still works. Still starts. Oh, just perfect. What do we got up here? Hey, we got some valuable change right here. We got a penny. I'm keeping that. We got a penny and a dime. This thing didn't cost me $1,000. It's 11 cents under 1,000. Actually, wait, hang on. We've got another one up here. Another penny. This may end up paying for my truck. You know, pennies are expensive, or are a hot commodity right now. What year is this thing? 1989. We'll keep that one. Hey, we're just paying for this truck right and left here. Look at this. We got some more. What's this one? $19.78. Got another one up here. Guys, this truck may end up making me money. 1977. No. 1979. 1964. Things like this interest me. What's that say on the back? United States of America. 5 cents. Monticello. E pluribus unum. Okay. What do we got here? Oh, Craftsman. 716. Craftsman. That's going in my toolbox. Got a hook to close a cattle gate there, or a door, shed door. Got a broken pin over here. Come on, get out of there. I can't get it. My fingers are too fat. Oh, there's another penny up there. This one looks fairly new. What's it? 1998. Okay. Interesting. Love it. I always love... Dude, I could get used to this. Buying old trucks to fix up. Oh, my landlord's not going to like me too well. All right, let's get things cleaned up here. Well, the thing was running real good. So I decided, you know what? Let's take it on a test drive. We'll venture out and go on a 4-mile test drive just around the section. Exactly 2 miles out, it stalled on me. And it's cold outside. And I was able to get it running by letting it sit and let the fuel pump for a while. And then it finally restarted, so I was able to turn around and head back to the shop. And it died again. But by that time I was 3/4 mile from the shop. So I redid the same thing, just let the fuel pump run for a little bit, and finally got it started again. But the longer time goes on, the quicker it plugs up again or quits running. So I think we've got a plugged fuel filter, or worse yet, we may have something going on in the fuel tank. Now that I went ahead and, filled the fuel tank completely full, that's probably what happens. Hopefully not, but good possibility. So I guess first of all, we're going to put new fuel filters on this thing and see if that takes care of it. But fortunately, I was able to get it inside the shop where it's nice and warm in here. And that way we can get it started quicker, easier. The fuel's not frozen cold, and we're able to get this thing bled again. So that was my main concern. But so I'll let you guys know, it's exactly why I was nervous about driving it around the section, because I did not want to be stuck beside the road somewhere, and I nearly was. So tomorrow we'll get more fuel filters from Napa, and we'll get this thing, the fuel filters changed, and see if that takes care of that problem. Coffee's brewing. It's Saturday morning. Snow is falling. Temperatures are falling almost faster than the snow. It is, well, this morning when I got up at 6 o'clock, it was 20, I believe it was 24 degrees, if I remember correctly. And it is now down to 14. And it is 10 o'clock in the morning. So 4 hours later, we've dropped almost 10 degrees. Well, yeah, 10 degrees. But It's nice and warm in here. I'm very fortunate to have a shop like this. I have gotten new fuel filters for this thing. Now, I was doing a little research on this, and I thought that this was an add-on, aftermarket add-on, and it is not. That is factory. It is a factory add-on, I believe. That lift pump is to supplement that lift pump, the manual lift pump down there. So I'm honestly a little concerned that we might have an issue with either the tank or the fuel pump down here. So first thing we're going to do though is we're going to go ahead and put new fuel filters on it. Obviously that's the first thing we should do. And then if it still doesn't run, I'm going to put a new fuel pump, lift pump on, the manual lift pump down on the engine. I could go ahead and do some diagnostic work, you know, and see where I'm losing my fuel pressure vacuum, but it's my truck and I don't want to spend that time to do it, which is not the proper way to do it, but we're just having fun. And the manual lift pump is old, it's original, it looks like, so I know it doesn't go bad like gas does, but with the way this fuel looks in here, I'm not surprised if it does go bad. It's not leaking fuel externally, but I don't know if it's pumping fuel the way it should. So first thing we're going to do though is we're going to go ahead and pull that fuel filter off. We're going to pull the air filter back off, the fuel filter underneath there. Secondary fuel filter is going to get changed. We'll bleed the system and see if we can get it to work again. Now, did I mention that this thing still smells like mice? This morning when I come in, my whole shop smells like mice. So one of these days we're going to go ahead and clean this thing all up, but not today. It's too cold outside, so I want to get it running good before I do any kind of cleaning. So let's focus on that. Let's just focus, period. I have a hard time with that. I get started saying something, see something else, and it's like, squirrel! I want to talk about that. We've got two new fuel filters provided by Napa. My local Napa Auto Parts had these on hand. As you can see, this one's been around for a while. That's okay. It's probably better. It was back when Wix was making them. Yep. Wix Filtration Corporation. What about this one? Man Hummel. We got good filters. If you don't know, Wix could not keep up with the Napa filters, so Napa switched to a different supplier. I mean, I think they're still good filters, but they are not made by Wix anymore. Modern day filters are not made by Wix. Okay, this looks right. Everything looks right here. Oh, I also do have a air filter ordered. I found that Advance has them on hand. They're Purelator, and they're marked down to 74 cents, and they've got two of them. So we're going to take advantage of that. Nothing like having an air filter on hand for this truck. I probably won't use it for another 10 years, but at least I have it, and it was cheap, and I'm cheap. Bird flies over my head, it goes cheap, 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 cheap. Not quite. I'm not as bad as some people. It depends on what I want to spend it on. If it's tools, I'll almost spend more than I should. The tool truck. Well, the one tool truck likes me. Whoa! Stay. I'm in my... I ran a couple of ambulance calls this morning, so I'm going to be not in my normal attire, so I'm trying to keep myself clean. All right. Oh! There we go. I don't know what kind of noise I just made. I'm a little ashamed of the noise I made. On the bright side, I haven't seen any mice in this shop yet, so I think they've all been unalived before they got here, so that's good. Now that fuel filter is full, so that's good. Hopefully that means that we don't have a restriction in the tank. I'll bring you guys over here and dump this thing out, see if there's anything in there. And it doesn't look the best, but there's no water in there. I mean, it doesn't look... Ooh. Bottom of that... I know you guys can't see down in there. The bottom of that fuel filter does not look pretty down in there. Well... yeah, it don't smell good. Alright. Alright, folks. Sorry about the audio issue here. I believe what happened was I accidentally deleted a bunch of my files by accident when I went to organize everything, and so I had to go and buy a program to recover all of my files, and I ended up losing a lot of audio here in the next two clips. Basically what I did to this truck is I pulled everything apart here, getting access to the fuel filter, which would be the secondary fuel filter here. Got to pull that whole bracket and everything out of there. I'm a little annoyed by that, it looks like. I know I was. But essentially we just replaced both fuel filters. Ended up that I still couldn't get any fuel to come out of the fuel filters. So I ended up going ahead and just chucking it up, as I was pretty sure that we had a plugged up fuel pickup tube. And so in the next scene here, I've got all my audio back, and we're gonna replace the fuel tank. I'm gonna do the right hand side one because that's the one that I believe it was pulling out of, pretty sure it was, and I didn't want to replace both of them. So next scene will be me replacing the fuel tank, and we should have audio again. Again, sorry about that. I'm pretty sure it's because I lost or accidentally deleted all of my files and I had to recover them. The picture quality is not as good that way either, but we got it back, so enjoy. Alright folks, the truck is back in the shop. It's Christmas Eve. I kid you not, about 8:30 at night. I just got back from Texas Roadhouse, and I had the irresistible urge to work on the truck again. Oh, and then I wonder why I'm tired all the time. I have a hard time getting up in the morning because I'm not a morning person. Once I'm up, it's not bad. I usually wake up pretty quick, but I do not like getting up in the morning. So, anyway, I'm a night owl. So, we've got the truck up on jack stands in the back here. The reason we do that is because this tank is going to be right in this area right here that we need to remove. That falls right in the place of where those lift arms go, doesn't it, Hoss? And so we can't get the tank out of there with the lift arms underneath the tank. So the only way I know to do it is to just jack it up or lift it up with the forklift there and keep it there for safety, because safety first or second, something like that. I don't remember, whatever. We'll get this thing pulled out of here. I think we're going to find that the diesel fuel has ate up the sock or plugged up the sock. More than likely it's that way. Plugged up the sock and we can't get any kind of fuel coming up through it. Rock Auto has finally got my parts here. And so now I've got a Delphi fuel pump. This is the lift pump on the side of the motor. I don't know that this one's the one that's on there is bad, but for 30 bucks, I'm gonna go ahead and put a new one on, and it's a Delphi, so it should be good. It's probably 50 years old. No, not quite. Probably 30 years old, and I would imagine still made in, oh no, it's made in China. And it may not be that good. I've also got a CarQuest one here, just in case, because, well, made in China as well. Whatever. May or may not work. We may be better off just leaving the one in there that's in there, but it looked all oily, and it's not that hard to change. I'd like to go ahead and change it. But first, let's drop that tank down, put a new pickup tube in it, and see what we get, what we find. I think we're going to be able to clean that tank out pretty good. It's not leaking, which is good. It is full, so it's going to be heavy. But, story of my life, I knew better than to fill that thing up like I did. Although, in my defense, the right side tank was already full, so just not sure what I'm going to do about the left side tank, because I don't think I can get the diverter valve to divert fuel from the other tank. So we'll get underneath here and get this tank out of here. I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to record here, but what we got to do is we're going to have to take, there's 4 bolts on this side and some more on the other side, and we have fuel lines up in here, some wiring. All in all, it's not that hard to get out of there. It's just kind of a pain in the neck. Let's just hope everything comes apart as easy as everything else has so far. So I'm gonna start pulling this tank down. See, we can see the lines up through there, so it would make it a lot easier if I just pull the bed, but I don't know. I didn't really want to, but maybe I should. Maybe the bed would be easier to pull. Reevaluating. Maybe then I could... Things that make you go, well, then I wouldn't have to pull this. Would I still be able to pull? I don't think I'm going to be able to pull pull. Yeah, okay. Nope. That pickup is square in between the cab and the bed here. Right, like, yeah. Nah, we're not going to pull the bed. All right, we're pulling the tank. All right, the fuel tank's out of there. I just went ahead and cut the fuel lines here. They needed to be replaced anyway, and it made it a lot easier to come out. Now, how are we going to get them back on there to go back in? I'll figure that problem out when I get there. That's a problem for future Ray. I guess I didn't need that clamp, did I? Somebody's had this thing out before, I believe. Go ahead and get our other clamp off here. I think we're gonna need these off of there to get this thing out of here. Maybe. You know what? What am I spending so much time doing that for? Let's just go ahead and cut those lines off. Easier said than done. 42 years of living has really started to catch up with it. So I've got little to no patience for something that doesn't work. All right, let's clean that off, so we at least don't have to clean that out of the tank when we get everything off. Yeah, this thing's got more Northern Illinois dirt and crap on it than you can shake a stick at. I mean, I guess it is 42 years old. Smells like, This thing really reminds me of my grandpa's farm because it smells like hog shit, poop. I don't know, maybe this thing was on a hog farm. Let's get our universal fuel tank ring removal tool here, i.e. the snap-on screwdriver. Okay. Not only that, I see. I don't like that. Oh, I don't like that. I know you guys can't see down in there, so I'm going to do this. That is what's down in there. That means that this has biofuel in it, which would also point towards the fact that the rest of our lines could be plugged pretty severely. Now, while we've got it apart anyway, I'm going to go ahead and try to blow backwards through that line and clean everything out that I can. But let's just see what we've got down in the tank here. You guys are going to see along with me because I didn't look down in the tank. Oh, it's nasty. Oh, look at that. Oh, no. Well, let's get started sucking that stuff out of there. An executive decision has been made, and that is that we are going to replace this fuel tank. The inside of this fuel tank has a layer of rust on it. There's a bunch of crap laying down in the bottom of the fuel tank, and I checked, and I can get a new fuel tank, brand new, from O'Reilly's for like $130. I'm not even going to mess with it because the next thing I know, I'm going to try to clean this thing out. All the rust inside the tank is going to go trying to get sucked up into my fuel lines and all that junk. So, not going to do it. Ain't going to do it. We're going to break down and put a new fuel tank in this thing for 120 bucks, 130. You can't not do it, in my opinion. So, it's on hold until I get a fuel tank. Tomorrow is Christmas Day. It's supposed to be at my local store Friday morning, December 26th. So, we're going to put a new fuel tank in this thing. I already checked the fuel lines going up to the motor, and all of those are clean. Kind of excited. Can't wait till we get that new fuel tank in here. I don't think I'm going to... No, I know for now I'm not going to put a new fuel tank on this side. The fuel diverter valve is not working, and I don't really want to chase that down as of yet. I got a lot of other things that I'd like to fix before I do that. One of those is, going through the brakes, just making sure everything's good. It was braking good, and I can see evidence of where they've put new fuel lines on this truck. There's a couple of couplers where they coupled two lines together. Now it is done right. I'm tired. It's like 10:30 at night. And it was done right because it's like a union, not compression union, but a double flare. So it's done right. It looks like it's done. They did a good job with it. And it is steel. It's not NICOP like I usually use. So, I mean, the steel's not rusty. Steel lines aren't rusty. So I think we're going to be good on that. But, it doesn't hurt to just take the wheels off. While we got the wheels off, let's check the brakes to make sure everything's good. We might just go ahead and put new hoses on it because, I don't know, just get a little nervous about how long it's been sitting, and we may have an issue with brakes freezing up. But once we get everything going, get everything running good, then we got to work on getting a title for this truck, which I don't think is going to be an issue. Like I said, the auctioneer that I dealt with here is has been pretty trustworthy in the past, so I have every confidence that he's gonna get it for me, so I don't think that's gonna be an issue. But I don't really want to go pouring a bunch of money into this thing and then I can't get a title for some stupid reason. All right, it's Friday morning. It is December the 26th, day after Christmas, where I ate way too much food, but we got to spend it with family, so that's a good deal. It's a good thing. It was a little different. This year was the first year without Grandpa, so we're having to start new traditions, but it's good. We're still getting together as family, so that's the main thing. I'm sure those of you that have lost grandparents understand it just feels different. So we got to adjust to our new normal. So I'm going to try and switch some of this over. We got our new tank. I'm going to try to switch this over. This came off very good and easy from the other tank. However, it is not wanting to come off here. This is different. Not sure this is going to work too well. Chinese aftermarket. They set this thing over too far, so I'm going to have to adjust that thing, but I think I can get it on as long as I can get it on there. The steel's a little thicker, so hopefully I don't break this. I believe this is the water and fuel sensor. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I believe that's what it is. So I'm going to try and see if I can get this thing. I should have known that's going to happen. Should have known. Let me grind some of this down just a little bit. I'm going to grind the end off and grind that down. Grind this down so this slides on there a little easier. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Where did I put the part? I brought it over here so I could match it up. Good job, Ray. Good job. So like any good Chinese part, we're going to have to modify things a little bit. Wouldn't be a good Chinese part without it. Anybody else ever get frustrated with the quality of stuff that comes out of a certain country? So frustrating. Amazingly enough, even though this is broke out here, we got this to fit pretty nice and snug. So I'm not going to worry about replacing that. I mean, you can get pretty much everything for these old square bodies, so I'm sure I could, but for me, myself, because this is my own truck, I can do what I want with it, and I'm not going to pay to replace that thing. So if I can get the screw to start threading in there. Hey, perfect. Perfect. Now, we'll put this back in that tank, lock it down, and we're good. Now, one thing I want you to notice about this, made in Canada. Oh, printed in Canada. Doesn't necessarily mean it's made in Canada, but the tank is at least made in Canada. I approve of this message. So let's get this thing. Nope, let's not do that. I am going to need the O-ring in here. So shout out to O'Reilly's for having this thing. My local parts store did not have it, but our distribution center is about 45 minutes north of here, and they had it on hand. Why, Ray? Why? Why are you doing this? Okay, now, let's make sure we got everything hooked up here. That, yep, it's all good. Put that down in there. This comes over here and locks in just like that. There's locating rings right there. We get this thing started here. And we'll get our universal locking ring installer, which is our screwdriver and a hammer. And we start rat-a-tatting this thing back in there. Okay, so that's done. I've put our filler neck on here. Now I just got to switch over these brackets. All right, we're back from the parts run here. And what I usually like to do for these kind of incidents is use an inner tube. And I usually use a bicycle inner tube. You can split that thing out. It's even got a line that you can follow and cut it real nice and straight. That didn't happen. I can't follow instructions. I can't follow lines. Nothing. It's as crooked as a dog's hind leg. So we are just going to pretend like nothing's wrong, and we're gonna go ahead and get this thing bolted up. So getting it secured here is kind of a little bit of something here. We'll see if we can get this done without frustrating myself too much. Pull that in. We'll put our much needed washer on there. Thread things back on there. Torque it to specs, just like that. Repeat the process with the other one. All right, well folks, I got my cart a little in front of the horse, as they would say. I put the air filter back on, and then I happen to think, well, I haven't bled the system yet. However, the fuel pump is already really quieted down. I've got the key turned on right now, and the fuel pump is really quieted down already. So I think we are self-bleeding the system right now. I've got a little gas diesel mix here that I've taken out of a customer's truck. This truck will be just fine running on that till we get to the filling station to put straight diesel in it. It'll actually help clean out the fuel pump. So let's just see what happens. I think our fuel gauge is actually working there. We are on E, which I would expect. I don't think I've got more than about, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 gallon in this truck. But let's crank it and see what we get there. Glow plugging it. Contact. Really should have left the air filter off and allowed that system to bleed, but I've got the thing starting to prime, so I'm too lazy to go ahead and take the air filter off and do it right. So we're going to probably burn up the starter trying to get it started. We'll plug in. Contact. This is dumb. Let's go ahead and pull the air filter off again, and we'll just bleed the system correctly. Oh yeah, we got air in it. That's a good thing that we heard air, because that means that we're starting to pump fuel again. Got the key turned on. We should be pumping fuel here just shortly. We're pumping fuel and air currently. Still got a little air coming out. Every now and then we still get a little hiss of air. Why? Well, folks, I think this was amateur hour. I thought that my transfer pump was pumping fuel into the tank at, you know, about 25 gallon a minute, and duh, I had it on for like a minute or two when I was filling the tank. It should have been full and overflowing. No. I put 5 gallon of diesel fuel in here from the fuel, gas station, went over to the gas station, got fuel, put it in there, and now we are no longer spitting air out of the fuel filter housing. So we might have a chance of this working. The fuel pump quieted down like it's pumping fuel. The lift pump, I should say. So, and just FYI, I have not changed the mechanical pump yet. You know, why change it if there's a possibility I don't have to? You know. All right, let's try this now. Both plugs on. Contact. Have we got fuel coming out? By chance? Not really. I think we've got very much afraid that our fuel system's a little screwed up, to be honest with you. I just feel like, though, if I can get this fuel running through here and start getting it to run, I can actually loosen things up and get it working. But first, gotta get fuel out. Ow! First, gotta be able to get fuel up to it. We've got good flow. We've got very good flow up to the fuel pump here. So if we can get it running, I think we can get it loosened up, but the key is getting it running. Really not pumping any kind of fuel, unfortunately. Folks, I don't know. I might be pulling a fuel pump on this thing. I did not want to have to do that at all. I probably spoke a little too big when it started earlier. See what happens now. A little bit of a tap with the hammer, maybe. I don't know. Well, folks, it's the next morning. I had to go home. I was pretty disappointed last night to not have this. I could not get this fuel pump to pump any kind of fuel. I've got fuel up to the fuel pump, and the rack is not stuck on the fuel pump, but I cannot get this thing to pump any kind of fuel out to the injectors. I've cracked the lines. I've tried to get fuel out to it, the injectors, and it will not. I've used starting fluid to try to get it to take off, you know, thinking maybe it'll spin fast enough, so I decided I'll leave it set overnight. Thought maybe the fresh fuel in there might soak the fuel pump to allow things to loosen up a little bit, and there is nothing. Like, it is not even trying to start, not even nothing. So this is not the way I wanted to leave this video and end this video, but I think I'm gonna have to end it here. I don't want to put another fuel pump in this thing until I know that I've got a title and I can get this thing road legal. I don't want to, you know, I was making some pretty big comments about a diesel. If it's got fuel, it's gonna run, you know. Yeah, that come back to bite me in the haunches, because yeah, we've got fuel up to the fuel pump. Now the fuel pump's stuck. I would guess what happened is I think on some of these they have an inlet screen on them. That inlet screen could be plugged, but more than likely, with the way this thing was running before, when I first started it, I think what we have is that fuel sat in there long enough to probably seize up the rollers inside the pump, and we may even have the tone ring, I think they call it the tone ring, might be scored. I mean, there's a lot of things that it could be. Again, it's a chance you take on a diesel fuel system that's been setting. If this would have been before biodiesel and before the ultra low sulfur, we wouldn't be running into this issue. But since it's got a bio blend and ultra low sulfur, our diesel fuels just don't last as long as they used to. They gum things up. They make a big mess out of fuel systems. So I've got fuel up to it now, but I just can't get it to pump. And the proper way to fix this is going to be to take the fuel pump and take it off, get it sent off. I want to send it to Area Diesel Service, and we'll see if we can get them to make a video on this thing. I don't know if they will or not, but I thought maybe they might want to. So Area Diesel, if you're watching this and you're wanting to make a video on repairing this fuel pump, hit me up. I'll put the email here off to the side or along the bottom somewhere in here, and you can hit me up on that. We'll collab with that. I think it'd be interesting. You can make your own video, and I'll link your video however you want to do it. You let me know. But I do want to send it to Area Diesel Service and have them rebuild it. If I can get this thing road legal. Now I want to get a title for it. I want to make sure that that stuff is all taken care of before I spend the $1,000 to rebuild the fuel pump and do all of those things, because I just don't see the point in rebuilding the fuel pump if I can't get this thing road legal, because it's also going to need new tires. I'm going to have to put new tires on it. I'm going to have to put new fuel pump on it. We're going to be about $2,000 in. That's on top of the $1,000 that I spent on the truck. And I've got a fuel tank, fuel filters, you know, none of that stuff's real expensive. So is it worth it? Yes, I think it'll be worth it if I can get it on the road. But if I can't get it on the road, you know, then we're going to go see what we're going to have to do from there. So from what I understand, I should be able to get with Dalton at Pole Barn Garage, his guy, and he should be able to get me a title if nothing else. So yeah, we'll see. But like I said, I don't want to do all this stuff and then that title holds us up. So diesels are fun, but they're expensive. I'm eating some of my words, I guess. I made big comments at the start of this video of how, you know, if it's got fuel, it'll run. Nah, well, a little egg on my face now, I guess, but it is what it is. I was pretty disappointed last night. It sucked, but it is what it is, and we'll work around it. But I'm gonna unfortunately end it here, and there'll probably be a follow-up video on this. We know it runs. We know the engine, transmission, and the drivetrain is solid. That we do know. We know that if I can get this thing road legal, that at the most a set of injectors and fuel pump, this thing will run. But yeah, so sorry to leave you hanging like this. I promise I will do some follow-up videos on this once we get things lined up and get it going. But yeah, I don't know. I hate leaving a video like this, so I'm sorry about that. I apologize profusely. I don't know what else to say, but hopefully you understand. And if you don't mind going down there and leaving a comment on what you think of this thing, what do you think I should do to it? If I can get it road legal, should I go ahead and restore the thing or drive it the way it is? Do I leave the topper on or don't I? Thanks for watching. Thank you for being here. As always, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And have yourselves a wonderful day. And I'll catch you on the next one.